Hi, my name is Max Cruz. I used to do this show a lot in high school, but then Access Vision gave me the opportunity to bring this show to TV. So without further ado, welcome to Max's Movie Reviews, the show where I'm going to review movies for you. Today's movie is going to be Spider-Man Homecoming. Spider-Man Homecoming is the 5th Spider-Man movie that has been made so far into live action, but it is only his 2nd time as an Avenger. Spider-Man is also a character that's been around since the 60s in the comic books, and I think that after all these years, they finally did justice to the character. Not to say they didn't do justice with Tobey Maguire or Andrew Garfield, but I believe Tom Holland was the perfect example. He was funny, he was nerdy, he had his quirks, and he was just an awkward teen, everything that Spider-Man should be. In the new Spider-Man, don't expect to see any of the villains you already know and love, such as Doc Ock, Goblin, Rhino, or Sandman, but instead expect a classic comic book villain who's been waiting forever to show up, the Vulture, played by Batman, Beetlejuice, and the founder of McDonald's, Michael Keaton. And he is an absolute perfect villain. He's just as good as Loki, he's terrifying, he's intense, and there were multiple moments in the movie where I would just sit there in awe of how intense a villain in a comic book movie with a goofy superhero can be. Robert Downey Jr. is also in it, playing the role of Iron Man, as always in all the Avenger films, and he still hasn't changed. He's still the goofy billionaire that we all know and love. One thing that makes this movie better than the others is that it has the most accurate high school atmosphere I've ever seen in any Spider-Man movie. And I should know, I just got out of there. All the kids felt like high school students, and they all had their own quirks, even though a lot of them were on the math team, but they were still athletes and all that. It was a very diverse cast, which I thought fit very well in the Marvel Universe, and even better in a Spider-Man universe. You can see Peter Parker struggle not only as a superhero and trying to impress Tony Stark, but also trying to struggle with high school and falling in love with girls and getting tests done, everything that a high schooler usually gets done. In the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, it's still a very, very good movie, but it feels like a 35-year-old man trying to play a 14-year-old, and there's something awkwardly creepy about that. In the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, it's more of a older, sophisticated Spider-Man, not one that's more goofy and awkward as a young teen. And instead of being like the awkward nerd, like I said, he reminds me more of like a hipster skater boy. One flaw that I have with the movie though, not personally, but I can see to other viewers, is that it relies heavily, very, very heavily on the past Avenger movies. It makes many references and comments toward Avengers, the Iron Man movies, Age of Ultron, even Captain America and Thor. So if you haven't seen those and you just want to see a movie for Spider-Man because you like Spider-Man, I'm not sure if you'd really enjoy it a lot because of how connected it is to the other movies. That being said, it's also one of its greatest strengths, because if you've been with the Marvel Universe since 2008, almost 10 years now, it feels very rewarding to see it all come together like a perfect puzzle, building its own universe that you can feel involved in. All in all, I strongly, strongly, strongly recommend Spider-Man Homecoming. If you like all the past Avenger films, if you like superhero films, if you like Spider-Man movies, or if you just miss the nostalgic 80s Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Breakfast Club-esque kind of movies, because Spider-Man Homecoming feels like one of those big ones too. Might as well get those pictures of Spider-Man. What's that, Mary Jane? You're in trouble? Oh my goodness, it's the Vulture? I'm coming to save you!
Access Vision. Your voice, your community.